Yes.
This is prerequisite for that one. So without having knowledge on the SQL server, SQL language, we can't go further on the BA. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But I can tell you this BA, but you can't understand anything if you don't have any knowledge in SQL Server. So what is my suggestion is take training on the SQL Server also, SQL Server along with the BA, so that you will get the complete overview. Otherwise, if you're interested in to learn the SQL Server in online or something where you'll find something, right? So if you want to learn that one, you can learn it. Otherwise, if you want me to tell you SQL Server along with the BA, then first we'll start our sessions with SQL Server, SQL language.
Yes, that's what I want, because I actually explained to my aunt about this. Look, even though I have the interest, but I don't have any, knowledge of SQL Server. Like, I have it on my computer. I already downloaded it, and I started reading, my own. Like if someone not there to direct you, like I don't know where to maneuver. So, and he told me like to tell you that I don't know much SQL Server, So like the instructor was from the station there.
So the first one is first you need to know about the SQL language, and then only we can jump into the BA.
Okay.
So without having knowledge in SQL Server or SQL language, we can't work on this BA. So what we will do is first we will start SQL Server. So that you will get, once you're familiar with the SQL Server, SQL language, then we can go with the BA.
Okay,
so,
sounds good.
So that depends. First what I'll do is I'll cover a couple of topics in SQL Server, so which is prerequisite for one of the two tools in BI. Okay. After that, we'll see the advanced concepts in SQL Server. After that, we'll complete the complete remaining BA. Otherwise, we'll complete the SQL Server first, and after that, we can jump into BA. So anything is better. So don't worry about that one. So depends on the situation and depends on the time. We'll change the subject and we'll change the plan. So that won't be heavy. Okay. First of all, let's see. Let me give some introduction about this databases and this business intelligence technology. So first of all, what is mean by database? So this complete technology is dealing with data, right? So database. So what is mean by database? Anything about database? Do you have any knowledge in database?
Okay. So
knowledge. So what is just a definition? I'm asking.
I think like a database is a collection of information. I can say like a collection of tables.
Yes, collection of tables. Okay, that is fine. That's good. Yes. So here the database is nothing but wherever you store the data, we will call that one as database. Simple definition. So wherever you store the data, we'll call it as a database. Let's say, for example, Notepad. In Notepad, we can store some data, right?
Yes.
So in Excel, we can store some data. In WordPad also, we'll store some data. And in the same way, in SQL Server also will store the data, in Oracle Server also will store the data, in Teradata, in Big Data. So many of databases are there. So wherever you're storing the data, let's just say, for example, book. So one textbook is there, and in that textbook you'll find some information. We can call that one as a database also. So wherever you're storing the data, we'll call that one as database. And what is the difference between this? Storing the data in Notepad, Excel, and Word, and the remaining databases. So what is the difference? So here the difference is in this format, in Notepads and in Excel and in Word, you can store the data in non-sequential order. Non-sequential means 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, like this you can store the data. But in this one, in the SQL or Oracle or whatever, you can take any database, we can maintain the data in sequential manner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And this is the first difference. The second one is data retrieval is very fast in this SQL Server Oracle database and whatever it may be. And here this is very poor. Data retrieval is nothing but, let's say if I ask you to find the ID, fifth employee ID information, then you need to check all the, let's say if you are maintaining one core records, you need to check all one core records, right? To find out the fifth employee ID. Let's say this fifth employee ID is repeated for 10 times. You need to check all that one core IDs to get his complete information. So it will take a lot of time. But in these databases, SQL and Oracle and the remaining databases, if you issue one simple command like select star from so and so table where ID equal to 5, then server will take care about the querying part, searching part. It will search for the record ID 5. and it will fetch the data. It will give the value. It will give you the data. So the data retrieval is very fast in compared to the Notepad, Excel, Word, and this one.
Okay.
So that is the difference between these two, and this is just simple about this database. Okay, and in database, this is clear. In databases, wherever we are storing the data, we'll call that one as a database. So that is good. But why we need to store the data and what kind of data we will store in the database? So what is the definition of the data? So why we need to store the data? Well, unnecessarily we don't do anything, right?
Yes.
So if there is any purpose, then only we'll store the data. So the exact definition for the data is the data should be related and should be used in future. Let's say if I give some information like this is the technology, a BA technology,
yes.
Okay, and if I give some wrong information, if this BA technology includes 4 tools or 5 tools, if I give this information, this is valid or not? This is not a valid information because this BA tool is holding only 3 tools. This is the genuine information. So the correct information. If the information is correct, then only you will try to store it in the database. So that is the first step. And the second one is, and this one you will use this one in future. You need to remember. So once when I'm telling this BA, so you are recording the sessions, right? So yes. why you are recording the sessions and why you are storing that records in your mission. So yes. Unnecessarily you are wasting your space, right?
Yes.
But the problem is in future, whenever you want to take the reference, whenever you have any doubt in a particular module, you need to check that. You will review that video, right? Recording. You will review the video. So which means whenever you are using it in future, and which is valid, we'll try to store that one in the database.
Okay.
So that is the definition of the database. So data should be related and which has some future reference value, then only we'll store the data in the database. Otherwise we never store it. Let's say if we went to some movie, just for example, I'm saying I went to some movie, so that is a 1.5 hour movie. So once I finish them, once the movie is finished, I'll come out and I'll chat with my friends for 1.5 hour regarding the movie. After that, I'll leave about it. I never try to remember that movie because I don't use it in future.
Yes.
So if that is used in future, then I'll try to store it. But the movie is not a useful one, right? So that is just time pass one. So I saw the movie and already we discussed about the movie. That's it. I left with the complete things here. So data should be related, that is related to you and which has some future reference value. Then only we'll store the data in the database.
Okay.
And we can store the data in database in table format. So in table, you will store the data in row wise and column wise. Okay. So that is simple definition for database and data and in which format you will store the data in your database. And in general, you will have 2 types of databases. The first one is DBMS. Database Management Systems, and the second one is RDBMS, Relational Database Management Systems. So have you ever heard about these terms, DBMS and RDBMS?
Yes, I think I have, but yeah,
okay.
I don't have more further knowledge about them, but I heard the word before.
Okay, so database management systems and relational database management, what is the difference between these ones? So the difference is database management systems, in the database managers, let's say this is your DBMS, only one user can work at one time. And if suppose this is your RDBMS, multiple users can work at the same time. That is the difference. So which means, let's say for example, access. I'm giving you one example for the DBMS, that is access. I think you know about this MS Access database. If you install the Microsoft Office, you will find the Access database, right?
Yes.
So if you install that Access database in your machine, and while you are working on that Access database, I can't work on that Access database, right? Because I don't have the privileges. Once you log out from your Access database, and I log into the computer, and I can work on this Access database again. So which means only one user can work at the same time. But RDBMS, Relational Database Management Systems, the example is SQL Server, Oracle Server. Nowadays the companies are using RDBMS, no one are going with the DBMS. So the Oracle, Teradata, IBM, DB2, anything we'll call it as RDBMS. Multiple users can work at the same time. So when I'm working, you can work in the same server, same database. If you have the privileges, then you can work on. And the third user can work. Like this, n number of users can work at the same time if the database is RDBMS. There is the first difference, and the second one is in database management systems, you can't maintain the relationships. So let's say this is your table, and this is, don't worry about this relationships and all. We'll see that relationships, how we can relate the tables and why we need to relate the tables. Everything we'll cover. Just listen and just remember this. That's it. Okay. In database management systems, we can't establish the relationships. We never create the relationships. There is no relationship between the tables.
Okay.
But in RDBMS, we can maintain the relationships. That is the second difference. So this is two types of databases, and don't worry about the DBMS because this is not our concept, and this is not, it's outdated one. No one are using this DBMS. So everyone are using, every company is using RDBMS. So the database, whatever you install in your local machine, so the SQL server you install, right? That's the RDBMS. So if you give me the privileges to work on your SQL server, I can work at the same time while you are working. So that is relational database management systems, and this is two types of databases. And let's see the next one. Types of databases, kinds of databases. Otherwise, we can call it as a kind of databases. So just take RDBMS, any database, whether it is a SQL Server or Oracle, anything. You will find two kinds of databases, that is Unicode database and non-Unicode database. So don't worry about this Unicode and non-Unicode if you don't understand here, because we will cover this one again whenever the topic comes. I'll cover it again. So Unicode database, and what is the difference between this Unicode and non-Unicode database? This is your database, whatever it may be, SQL Server or Oracle or DB2, Big Data, Teradata, whatever it may be. That is one database, and this database can be created like Unicode and non-Unicode. So the difference is non-Unicode database means this one is language specific. Language specific means okay, if I design this, yes, if I design this database with some specific language, my requirement is my business requirement is I want to load the data, only English data into this database. Then I can set one language page, code page, we'll call it as a code page. If I set that code page, depends on the code page, whatever the code page you will select. Either if you select this one as English, otherwise you can select as Japanese or Germanese, Chinese, whatever it may be. If you select this one as a German code page, and if you are trying to insert the English language data, then it won't accept.
Okay.
So whatever the code page you have selected, the same you can load it into your database. That is language specific. And Unicode means it will accept multiple languages data, multiple kinds of data. Let's say I'm running my business in multiple countries. So in US, in Germany, in Japan, in China, I'm running my business. So I get four kinds of data, right? Chinese data I'll get, Chinese language, German language, Japanese language, and English language. And I want to load the data into the same database. Then what I'll do is I'll go with Unicode databases.
Okay.
Okay, and the real time we will go with Unicode databases, not with non-Unicode database, unless and until if the requirement demands. Okay.
Okay.
So this is about the the types of databases, and this is just little brief about the databases and just overview. We can call it as just overview about the database concepts.
Okay.
And we'll see now the business intelligence. That is our core intention, right?
Yes.
So what is meant by BA, and how this one will help the user, help the business, otherwise help the person. So BA is nothing but business, and just don't forget about this, forget about this MS as part of just now. As of now, just let me go with BA. First of all, let me tell you what is BA. After that, we'll see MSBI concepts. So business intelligence is nothing but business intelligence will help the person who are analyzing the reports, who are analyzing the business. So analyzation is nothing but, let's say I'm running one big company, okay, and I'm running a big company, and that doesn't mean that I can sit and enjoy, right?
Yes.
Every day I have to check the market, how the business is, how my competitors are going, and what offers they are giving. So I need to check that one. So let's say I'm running one supermarket. Let's say that one is XYZ. Okay. And another guy is running one more supermarket, another supermarket, that is ABC. Okay. Now, and I have good amount of customers. Out of 100 customers, 90 are mine, and 10 are ABC guys, and the remaining 10 are these guys. And if I feel that, okay, I'm leading in the market, I'm in good position, and if I don't bother about what offers this guy is giving, so what happens? Slowly the customers will decrease for me, right? So let's say this guy is introduces an offer, let's 1 + 1 offer or 2 + 1 offer, otherwise on purchase of something, he is giving some voucher card, gift card. So what happens? This 90-10 ratio will become 50-50 in very short period of time before I realize. By the time I realize, the ratio will be 10-90. Right? So always people has to keep an eye on the market. What others are doing, what your competitors are doing, and what you are doing. And sometimes, so this is one way of analyzing the business, and sometimes you have to analyze your own business. So this is my XYZ is my own business. I need to analyze this business. Let's say I'm running the same XYZ supermarket. In winter, I won't order them soft drinks, more soft drinks, but in summer I'll order more drinks. Why? Because so from previous year's analysis, I came to know that, okay, last year summer sales were super good, so I have to buy more. And last year sales were not that much good in winter, so I'll order less number. So it just based on business historical data, business history, my business history. So he will maintain the business history. So we will, let's say for example, 2010 I've started my supermarket and I'm maintaining the data like this. 2010, this is summer and winter, and in 2010 1000 rupees is the sales in summer, and in 2010 winter 300 rupees is the sales, and in 2011 2000 rupees is the sales, and in winter 200 rupees is the sales. Like this, 12 in 12 this is 3000 rupees, and here this is 100 rupees, and in 13 this is 4000 rupees, this is one is 400 rupees, and in 2014 this one is $5,000, let's say, and this one is $350. And if I ask what could be the sales in 2015 by giving the data, can't you give that information or not? So every year my business is gradually it is increasing $1,000. So I can say that in 2015 approximately $6,000 will be the sales in summer. But in winter, every year the market is fluctuating, so I will take the average. So based on this average, I'll give some information like, okay, sales might be $300 to $350. I'll give that information like this. So if I analyze the business like this, what happens? There is no question of losing the business, right?
Yes.
So that is why we need to analyze the business. To analyze the business, this is the data you need to have. So this is what we call it as historical data. So if you take any business, either it is a $10 business or $10 billion business, so there will be a lot of analysis involved. For that analysis purpose, we need data. So we need data which returns the results that you are looking for. So to analyze the business, we need data, right? So from where we will get the data and how it will come, we'll see that. So that is important, right? So to analyze the business, data is required, so that is good. But from where we'll get the data? Let's say I'm the CEO of any soft drink company. Okay, let's say Coke. I'm the CEO of Coke company, and I ask my manager to get the sales information about a particular country. So where I'm running my business in multiple countries, and I ask my manager to get the sales information about a particular country. Okay. So what will be his approach to get the information? Let's say I ask the information about the sales in India. And in India, there are 1 lakh stores who are selling the soft drinks. So 1, 2, 3 like this. In India, 1 lakh stores are there who are selling the cool drinks. Then how the manager will get the data from these 1 lakh stores and how he will submit the sales report. What could be his approach? So the first one is he can go to each and every store and knock the door and collect the information, right? which means he has to knock each and every door of 1 lakh stores and gathers the information. What happens if you do like this? Let's say I asked him about 2015 January sales. Okay, by the time he submits the report, the time will be 2016 January. Why? Because he needs to travel throughout the country and he needs to cover all 1 lakh stores, right?
Yes.
So it will take a lot of time. So it's a time-consuming process, and this one is not suggestible. And what could be the next best approach compared to the first one? So the next approach is he can hire 1,000 employees, okay, and ask them to collect the information. So what these people will do? So these people will divide into some groups. Few guys will go to some state and few guys will go to some another state. Like this, they'll cover all the states, and they will gathers the information from all the 1 lakh stores and submits the report. After submitting the report, again if I ask them about the current month sales, 2015 sales they submitted, and if I ask about the current month, 2015 February sales, so what they will do? Again they'll go and collect the information, right?
Yes.
For that, I have to spend a lot of time. Compared to the previous one, the time will decrease. Let's say in the first scenario, it is taking 6 months to 1 year time, and the second scenario, 1,000 employees are working. It will take at least 10 to 15 days time.
Yes.
Okay. 10 to 15 days time, and here this time also very heavy in real time scenarios. But okay, this is compared to the first one. This is good. But here the problem is I need to pay 1,000 employees salaries.
Yeah.
Right? Which increases the cost to my company. So no company will pay this much of salaries to get the data like this. To overcome this, what we can do here is I'll go to each and every store and I'll speak with the owners and I'll ask them to forward the databases to my location. In return, I'll pay money. So what they'll do? I'm paying money, so what they'll do, they'll forward the databases to my place, right?
Yes.
So now I'm having all 1 lakh databases in my hand, in my location. Now this one is very easy. Now here, this one is very easy for me to create, generate a report, right? Because I'm having all the databases in my hand. In single place I'm having the database. I can easily generate the report. But the disadvantage here is, here all 1 lakh databases are different types. So it's not mandatory that everybody should maintain the same databases, right? So that's just an information. They can store it in any format. Some are using SQL Server, some are storing the data in Oracle, some are storing the Notepad, some are storing in Excel format, some are storing in Word format. So all different databases I'm having in one place. So how can I select the data? What I need to do here? What I need to analyze the data here? Again, I have to hire the guys who knows all the different database terminologies, who are experts, who are masters in the database terminologies. Even though I recruit the employees, I can't get the reports properly. Okay, because I don't have the data in one place. Because I have all the databases in one place, that's good, but the data is not in one database, right? To get the report from here, it's a big headache for me. I can't merge all 1 lakh databases into one to get the result. So here, if we have a tool which help us to move all the data from multiple sources, different sources, 1 lakh data sources to one single destination, will it be helpful or not? Yes, because if you have all the data in one place, one database, if you have all the data in one database, I can easily find what I want. If I issue one command, select star from table name where year equal to so and so, then immediately I'll get the report. There is no question of losing the record. There is no question of mismatching values, miscalculations.
Yeah.
Let's say here I'm using a tool called ABC. Okay. Here we are just discussing about BI, not about MSBI. Okay. Okay. So here using this ABC tool, I move the data from all 1 lakh databases to single location, single destination, single database. Okay. Now here I'm having all 1 lakh databases data in one single database. Okay. Now what happens if I'm continuously pushing the data like this? I'm moving the databases from here to here and from here to here I'm loading the data. What happens? Let's say 1 lakh databases data are moving, right? So 1 lakh databases, each database is written 1,000 records per month, 1,000 records. And 1 lakh databases means 1,000 into 1 lakh. That means it's around 1,000 crores or 100 crores. Let me take the count as 1,000 crores. I don't know the exact value. I'm taking it as 1,000 crores. So if it is having 1,000 crore records in this database, what happens if I'm trying to query something from this database? So the performance will be a big hit here. Let's say, for example, if I ask you to weight 10 kgs lift, you can easily weight that one, right? So you can easily lift that one. If I ask you to lift 50 kgs, okay, depends on your stamina, you will lift that one. If I ask you to lift 200 kgs weight, then what happens? If I ask you to lift 300 kgs, 500 kgs, what happens? So whenever I'm increasing the kgs, pounds, your performance is going down. In the same way, whenever you're increasing the burden on this database, so by inserting the huge data like this, the performance will go down. So now here to query a particular record from these 1,000 crore records, it is taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So what happens? So obviously that is a performance issue, right?
Yes.
So in real time, people will look for the performance. Not for money and nothing, companies will look for the performance. So here if we have any tool that improves the performance of this database, that will be helpful, right?
Yes.
Yes, because if the performance is good, then the querying time will decrease. We can get information or we can generate the reports very fast. So here a tool called, let me take the name of the tool as DEF. I'm naming this tool as DEF. And using this DEF tool, I'm converting this database. Otherwise, using this DEF, the DEF tool, I'm generating one more database. I'll call the database as cube database. Otherwise, we can call it as OLAP database. Otherwise, we can call it as multi-dimensional database. Okay. So cube is nothing but this is the cube.
Okay.
So where you can store the data in multiple angles. Okay. Now, if you convert the database like this, if you convert the database, if you create the cube, if you develop the cube like this, the database performance, the performance of this cube will be super good compared to this database. We are calling this one as a cube, OLAP, and multidimensional, whatever it may be, you can call it as. So once the cube is ready, and what happens if I ask my manager that I prepared the cube, you just use the cube to get the information what you're looking for. What happens? On the next minute, he fires me, right? Why? Because he's paying money to me to get the information what he is looking for. So here, one more tool we'll use. We'll call it as GHI. I'm naming this one as GHI. Using this tool, what I'll do is I'll connect to this cube and I'll generate the reports. I'll generate the reports according to my client requirement. Let's say if my client asks to generate the report based on the dates. Otherwise, my client asks me to create a report based on products. I'll create that one. According to my client requirement, I'll submit these reports to my manager. So this is about the BA, and in this Microsoft concepts, Microsoft Business Intelligence terminology, we will call this ABC tool as SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services, and we'll call this DEF as SQL Server Analysis Services, and GHI, the reporting, we'll call this one as SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. Okay, so this is about BI and this is about Microsoft BI. So this SSIS is used to extract the data from multiple sources and to load the data into a single database, and in between it is transforming the data. And this SQL Server analysis is used to develop the cube where the performance of the database is super good. And the SQL Server reporting services is used to generate the reports where we can find the valid information, the genuine information. So this is about BA, Microsoft BA. Okay. Any doubts, Ayub?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, fine. Do you have do you know anything about database and data warehouse?
No.
Okay, so in that case, we'll see one example, one another example. Let's say I'm the owner of any bank. Let's say BOA, Bank of America. Okay. Now I'm the CEO of Bank of America. Just now I changed my company. Okay. And here I'm storing the data and all the transactions in this database. So this Bank of America is storing the transactions in this database. So first of all, what is transaction? Let's say I'm running a supermarket, and if any customer comes to the store and if he buys a soap, that's a transaction for me. And if any customer buys a chocolate, that's a transaction to me. So the transaction is nothing but which will store all the transactional information or all the sales information. So transaction is nothing but it directly says how the business is going on. So if you take the bank, here the bank, we are going with the bank example, right? So if you take any bank, let's say customer A deposited few amount and customer B credited with some amount and customer C transferred some amount. Like this, there will be so many transactions, right? Mm-hmm. So in the same way, all the transactions will capture and will store it into this database. So how many transactions made by a customer in 1 month or in last month, that says how the bank's business is going, how the customer transactions are going. So that is transactions. So based on the transactions only, we'll see how the business is, whether it is performing well. I mean, whether it is in profit, otherwise it is in loss. We'll see that. So every transaction they'll capture in this database. Let's say Bank of America is having 1 crore customers. So just I'm giving one simple example. Bank of America will have a lot of users, customers. Just I'm taking 1 crore. And what happens if each customer is performing 2 transactions per day? So he's withdrawing the amount and crediting the amount, depositing the amount into his account. What happens? 1 crore into 2 transactions per day, which means I am inserting 2 crore records into this database per day. So what about the count in a week, or in month, or in a year? So 2 crore in a year, in a month the count will be 60 crores, and in a year the count will be 720 crores, right? Mm-hmm. 720 crores. Now, how are they going to use this data? Now they are storing only the information, all the information into this database, right? So the complete information into this particular database. Now let's say I have an application. Based on this database, I'm running one application and using this. So I can't directly load the information into this database, right? Using some interface, I'm going to load the data. So that interface is this application. So this application will have the information like name of an employee, sorry, name of a user, customer, and account number of the customer. Okay, account number of the customer. So now based on this, I am loading the data into this database. So what happens if I'm continuously loading the data like this, transactional information? Mm-hmm. So the size, the database size will be grow like anything. It will be terabytes, in the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte. And it's just billions of data. So for every insert, for every update, for every modification, whenever I'm applying any query, whenever I issue the query, the data is storing into this database. Let's say I'm the customer of Bank of America and I went to deposit some amount. So in person, I went to bank, okay, and I want to deposit some amount into my account. First, what I'll do, I'll give my account number to the employee, so that he will check whether I'm a genuine customer or not. So without checking that, he won't load he won't deposit he won't deposit the amount into the account, right? First he will check whether you are a valid user or not. So to check that one, where the information will be available. The information is available in this database, and this database is holding something around 700 crores. And he issued the account number like 123, and he click on OK. Once he click on OK, this record will go to this particular database and it will check for that 123 record. And this, to check this 123 ID, there are 700 crore records are there. It has to check all the 700 crore records. So what happens in that case if it is checking 700 crore records are more than that? So it will take a lot of time to query that one. Let's say that one is that particular simple query is taking 30 minutes time to get the report, get the data. To check whether I'm a genuine customer or not. For that it is taking 30 minutes time. So what happened, sorry, what about the depositing then? It will take around at least 10 minutes, right? Once checking that one, it is checking, let's say it is 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it may be. So in total, it is taking 40 minutes for one single transaction. So what about the remaining people and what about me? So no one will have this much of time nowadays, right? Yes. To deposit one simple amount. So what I'll do, simply I'll close my account with the Bank of America and I'll go with another bank where the performance is super good. Let's say Citibank. Okay, I'm going with the Citibank. So what bank people do is to avoid such what we can say, the circumstances or something. To avoid these issues, what bank people will do is they will move their data from this database to some another database. They will keep some constraints based on the data. So the constraint is, okay, this much of data is flowing per day. So which means in month 60 crore records are there. So it's better to move the data for every 1 month to this database. So here we are maintaining the data in the database, and every month I am moving the data into some another database. So which means here in this database I am maintaining only 1 month information. That is nothing but current information or current record. It just depends on your flowing of the data, how much data is flowing into this database. So here we are maintaining only current information. That's why we'll call it as database. So this one is also a database and this one is also database. There is no difference here, but only the names are different. Okay, and we'll call so the current information is available in this database, and in this database, let's say I started my business in 2000. From 2000 January to 2015 January data is available in this database, right? So this is February, only February information available in this database, and the remaining data will be available in your database. We'll call this one as data warehouse. So because this one is maintaining the historical information. Historical information is nothing but old information.
Old information.
Okay, historical data, or otherwise we can store we can call it as old data. Otherwise we can call it as aged data. So whenever you are storing this kind of data into your database, we'll call that one as data warehouse. Okay, so to move the data from this database to data warehouse, we will use again SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. So using SQL Server integrations, it's not mandatory that every time you will move the data from multiple sources. Sometimes you need to move the data from single database also. Okay. Now, however, I'm moving the data from this database to this data warehouse to keep the application performance in good shape. I'm moving the data. Now I can't, once I move to this data to this one, here the application performance is good. Okay. That's fine. But I can't say, sorry?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
fine. I moved the data from this database to this database to keep the application performance in good shape. I moved that one, so now the application performance is fine. Now this is good. Now I can't say that this data warehouse performance is good, right? Because already the database performance is very good. That's why I moved the data into this database. I'm saving the data, some separate data into this one. Now I can't say the performance is very good here. Again, the performance is the problem. So what I'll do is I'll inject one layer called SSA, that is SQL Server Analysis Services. Using the SQL Server Analysis Services, we will create the cubes where the performance is super good compared to this database or data warehouse. Once the cube is ready, I'll use this SSRS tool to generate the reports. Okay. I'll use this one to generate the reports. Now here it's not mandatory that every time you need to connect to the cube to generate the reports. Just think that your data warehouse, in your data warehouse there is only 3 crore records or 4 crore records or 5 crore records. There is only 5 crore records. So 5 crore records, it's very easy for any database to query the data from 5 crore data. So in that case, what can I do is I can directly connect with the database using this SSRS tool to generate the reports. There is no need to use SSAS. So this SSAS is just whenever the performance of the database, whenever you want to improve the performance of the database, we'll inject this SSAS layer to improve the performance. If the performance is good in the database, then why we need to create the cube, unnecessarily wasting the time, right?
Yes.
So we can directly connect with SSRS and we can generate the reports according to your manager's requirement or client requirement. So when we go with SSAS means whenever the maximum transaction table information, let's say if it is crossing more than 5 crores or 10 crores, more than at least minimum 5 to 10 crores in between, if the data is going beyond to this 5 to 10 crores, then we can go with this SSAS layer. But don't worry about this when we go with the SSAS layer and all, because this is high level job, so so your CPTs will take care about that one. Okay.
Okay.
So this is how we can load the data. We will generate the reports. And if you observe from the starting to ending, here it is dealing only with the data. So here in the starting, it is just raw data. So raw data is nothing but from by seeing this data, you won't find any information. Okay. So in the table, how you are storing the data. So in let's say January 1st, I went to one supermarket. I purchased one item. January 2nd, I purchased one item. Third, like this, throughout the month, I purchased a lot of items. Every day, I'm purchasing 5 items, and the supermarket guy maintains my information, right? Because I'll pay the money in end of the month. And once this is the raw data, and if I ask the supermarket owner, okay, what is my purchase billing? What is my billing? So if we give this report, what I need to do this one report with this report. And in this first day I purchased this one, and second day I purchased this, third day, why I need this one? What I'm asking is just what is my billing? What is my bill? So if you give the bill, okay, $100 is your bill, monthly bill, then I'll pay that bill. So this is what the exact information I'm looking for. This is raw data. So here the converting this raw data into valid information, the reports, that is nothing but your BA, business intelligence. Okay. So converting raw data to valid information is MSBI project. Nothing but adding some intelligence to your data or business. And so hope you understand about these 3 tools.
Yes. Very clear.
Okay. And good thing about this MSBI is all these 3 tools are independent. So if you know SSIS, I know SSAS, and another guy know SSRS, then we 3 sit together and we can complete a full project, complete end-to-end project. It's not mandatory that you need to learn all the 3 tools. At the same time, if you have all the 3, you will be the best option for the guys who are taking the interviews. So nowadays, people are learning all these 3 and not completely, but they are trying to get some knowledge and all. So what I suggest is become mastered in one tool, any tool, and get some intermediate knowledge in the remaining tools. Okay. So that is about MSBI, and this is about different concepts which are related to data warehouse and BA projects.
Sounds good.
And I completed my Ayub, and if you have any doubts, then you can ask me.
Okay. So about the warehouse, the data warehouse. So is it like the data? Is it like something deletable, or is it just gonna be there forever? Like whenever, like okay, so whenever the warehouse is slow,
yes, we never delete the data. Yes, we never delete the data from the data warehouse.
Okay.
So every time we'll insert the data into data warehouse. We never apply the modifications on the data warehouse. We never update the data. Otherwise, we never delete the data. We'll just append the data. We'll keep the existing data as it is, and we'll add the new data to this data warehouse unless and until if the requirement demands to change the data in your data warehouse, then we'll try to update it. But whenever we update the data, we will maintain the history. So we need to maintain the history.
Okay.
History means in 2005 the record is like this, and 2006 the record is like this. Like this, we need to maintain the history. So we'll maintain that one. So in data warehouse, we never delete the data.
Okay. So like whenever the performance is slow, we create a system SSAS, like create a cubicle, and then it kind of like helps the process to be a little bit faster.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I get that part.
Anything?
I think it's
Sorry?
clear. It's very clear. It's very clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay then. So okay then from tomorrow we'll start our sessions. First what I'll do is I'll take SQL Server. So once we finish the SQL Server, then we can go with the BA. We'll jump into BA and we'll see the BA part.
Sounds good.
Okay?
That sounds good.
Okay then. Yep. Okay then. Go through the video and let me know if you have any queries.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay. Okay. Hello.